right after Israel suffered one of the most brutal and savage attack on its people in the wake of their religious festival on October the 7th, the UN chief said this, and I quote, "It is important to also recognize the attack by Hamas didn't happen in a vacuum. The Palestinian people have been subjected to 56 years of suffocating occupation. It obviously didn't matter to him that the Israeli forces withdrew from the Gaza Strip back in 2005. And when the Israeli forces withdrew from the Gaza Strip in 2005, not only did they forcibly remove their settlement, the people that are alive and living in that particular region, guess what else they did? They even removed the dead ones. They dug up the grave and removed the bones of the dead Israelis that were buried in Gaza. It didn't matter to him that for the past 2 decades, Israelis provided food, water, electricity, and work permits to thousands of their enemies. People who, on October the 7th, betrayed that generosity. These civilians who have been granted the chance to work in Israel used their positions to gather strategic information, ultimately weakening Israel's border security. When the Hamas terrorists infiltrated Israeli territory, they targeted and swiftly eliminated those tasked with defending the villages, ensuring their brutal attack could unfold with devastating precision. He also totally ignored the fact that since Israel's withdrawal from Gaza in 2005, thousands of missiles have been fired from Gaza into Israeli territories unprovoked, with the sole intention of killing innocent Israelis. Only a highly sophisticated and costly defense system like Iron Dome could intercept some of these attacks. Even then, it has its own limit. On that fateful day, on October 7th alone, nearly 5,000 projectiles were launched from Gaza, overwhelming the Iron Dome system and allowing many of those deadly projectiles to strike Israeli soil. It didn't matter to him that right after the country of Israel was declared a sovereign nation, the surrounding Arab countries wanted to wipe its existence off the map, attacking Israel from all sides within less than 24 hours of its independence. It also didn't matter to him that almost no Jew is left in the Middle East, and yet Israel, the only democracy in the Middle East, still have more than 2 million Arab Muslims, some of whom were even appointed as top officials even in the Supreme Court of Israel. It also didn't matter to him that hundreds of thousands of Jews were forcibly driven out of Middle East over the last couple of decades, who suffered pogrom and genocide in the hands of Muslims in those countries, which even the most controversial critic of Israel, a so-called expert, a Hamas sympathizer in the closet, people like Mehdi Hassan, couldn't even deny very recently during a live debate.
Number two, the libel of ethnic cleansing. In 1948, when 5 Arab armies and the local Arab population attacked the fledgling state of Israel with the stated intention of annihilating its people, 700,000 Arabs escaped the fighting. Those that remained became Israeli citizens. The Arab population of Israel has increased tenfold. This is ethnic cleansing? No. Ethnic cleansing is what happened to the Jews in 1948 when Jordan occupied the West Bank. Ethnic cleansing is what happened to 850,000 Jews expelled from Yemen, Algeria, Egypt, Morocco, Syria, Lebanon, and Iraq, where they'd lived for thousands of years. Ethnic cleansing left Arab countries Jew-free. Meanwhile, 2 million Arabs live in Israel today.
Shamelessly, of course, when these so-called journalists, these experts, people like Mehdi Hassan, spread lies and propaganda, we can forgive him for once at least. But when a UN chief does the same, it raises questions as to what UN stands for. Are all communities deserve to be equally represented in the UN, or is UN a Muslim propaganda machine? The way many people have been brutally massacred, entire family burned alive, babies kidnapped, women, children, Holocaust survivor dragged away into the terror dungeons of Gaza Strip, chopping off the hands of the children in front of their parents, gouging out the eyes of the parents in front of the children, raping women to death, shredding them into pieces, slicing off their breasts, shooting them in their private parts after they have been brutally gang raped, treated worse than even the stray dogs on the street, and even the UN chief justified this savagery and barbarism by saying that this Hamas savagery didn't happen in a vacuum. But now, as the Hindu minority in Bangladesh is facing unimaginable atrocities in the hands of Muslims, thousands murdered, hung upside down from the bridges, lynched in the street, shops looted, homes set ablaze in the dead of the night, temples destroyed, idols desecrated, and women abducted in front of their families, the silence of the UN chief is deafening. It forces me to question who UN really represent. Who are they in bed with? Is UN chief is also a Hamas representative? What is the difference between UN chief and Yahya Sinwar or Bin Laden or Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi?